Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome as we take a look at another shelf in the Dice Tower library. So this is definitely thematic central, and there's a lot of games to look at here. So let's take a look here at the top shelf. We'll start with Forbidden Stars. So you're going to see a lot of Fantasy Flight stuff on this top shelf. Forbidden Stars, that kind of grail game. People hope it comes back, but likely not. It was a redone version of StarCraft, which incidentally is not in the library, but I think Forbidden Stars is good enough. Then we got Game of Thrones, the game that, for many people, put Fantasy Flight on the map. Or maybe it's the one next to it, Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror. Both of those are like 4 games when Fantasy Flight was at their heyday of making these style games. Next to that is Dungeon Quest. Now, I really hate Dungeon Quest, but a lot of people like it, where you're basically just trying to survive. Fantasy Flight made a very nice version. This was a reprint of a much older version. Then we got a game here from Plaid Hat, but kind of fits in here, Spectre Ops, Scotland Yard, but with more theme added to it. And then Fury of Dracula. Again, these are the kind of game, Fury, Dracula, and Spectre Ops are the same kind of genre. That's why they're next to each other. And then we got 2 games that are kind of the same, but with very different themes. Battlestar Galactica, the board game, which I think has an expansion in it, maybe. But the expansions are hard to find, so I'm not sure if they're in there or not. And Unfathomable, which is the Cthulhu re-theme of Battlestar Galactica. Most people like Battlestar Galactica better, and it gets played at a lot of conventions, but some people want Unfathomable. Then we got some games from CMON's heyday, Starcadia Quest and Arcadia Quest, both of them with expansions. I don't add a lot of expansions in the library, but I like having the extra stuff for these games, so they are there. Now, right below them, you'll see sort of a trilogy, sort of. We have Inish and Kemet, and you'll wonder where Cyclades is. That's because Cyclades came out in a nice new version with a different size box, so it doesn't fit on this shelf. So Mezzo is taking their spot, because Mezzo is sort of the same style game, and it's made from Colossal, who is essentially the same as Madigo in many ways. Then we have Sid Meier's Civilization, and then the rest of the shelf is Star Wars. So Star Wars, I like that I was able to put all these together here. We have the Mandalorian, that's the new, no, that's not the newest one in the series. The Mandalorian Adventures, yes, that is the newest one in the series of Star Wars games. Star Wars Outer Rim, a game where you pick up and deliver. Imperial Assault, a Star Wars dungeon crawl of sorts. Star Wars Rebellion, that's all of Star Wars. Star Wars The Queen's Gambit. Paint It, too. This is one I'm really proud to have in the library. Star Wars Epic Duels, which, if you don't know, was kind of the basis for Unmatched. This is an older version of Unmatched by the same designer, Rob Daviau. Star Wars Battle of Hoth. Oh, that's the newest one, actually. A remake of Memoir 44, but with Star Wars. And then Star Wars Risk, which really isn't Risk at all. It's more of a lighter version of Star Wars Queen's Gambit. All right, then down to the next shelf. A dungeon crawl here. Hero Quest, the original one. Ruination, which has some similarities maybe to Mezzo. Then we have Rune Wars. So Rune Wars is a game that doesn't get talked about much more, from Fantasy Flight. Sort of their big battle version from the Tyranoth universe. Fallout. Not a huge fan of this one myself, but I know a lot of people like it. Lords of Hellas and its big box. So this is the only one I have in the library. I had both of the Lords games in there, but Lords of Hellas is the better renowned game, and the Warlord box is there just because there's so many, big miniatures for the game. Quad Heroes. This is an unusual game where and it's in the library mostly because it's painted. The cubes are painted, and you're like moving these cubes around the board, like rolling around like dice to attack each other like Robo Rally. Castle Panic. Castle Panic this is the big box, well, not the biggest box, but the big box of this tower defense game. And then I got 2 copies of Battle Lore there, or a copy and an extra box. That's everything for Battle Lore 2nd Edition. Wish they had continued making more of it, but it is such a fun game in the Commands and Colors universe. Below that, we have Super Fantasy Brawl, which is from Mythic. This one, again, I think it's an okay combat game, but it's all nicely painted. And so is Monster, I can't remember the name of that game now, and I can't read it here. So the Monster whatever is underneath it. Monster Slaughter. Anyway, This is a game in which you are monsters going into a cabin and killing people, but there's other monsters fighting you for it. Both those games are painted, which is why they're here. Red Dragon Inn, we talk about this game a lot. If you ever wondered what it's like, come to one of our conventions and play it. Dune, such a small game, but also such a big game. Some people like playing this classic game. This is the remake from Gale Force 9. Seas of Havoc is a game I like a lot. About pirate ships just moving around, shooting each other, deck building, very fun. Hellboy, the board game. I don't know anything about this one, but it's Hellboy, so that's why it's here. Legendary, this is Marvel Legendary. This is not just the base game. There's a few expansions in there. I know for sure Fantastic Four is in there, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy are in there. I used to have everything in the library, but no one would ever pull it out. Now, with less, people can check it out. XCOM, the board game, a game that used apps to make XCOM. Then in the next one, Conquest of the Planet Earth Apocalypse. I really like this. This is the Apocalypse expansion because it actually makes the game better, but you're defending or you're attacking Earth as different aliens, and it's really fun. Check it out. And then Terror Escape. This is easily the most checked out game on this shelf. This game has really taken off in recent years. That second shelf was Star Wars. The bottom shelf is Lord of the Rings. But first, Tannhauser, a rare tactical combat game that Fantasy Flight made, managed to track down a copy and add it. And then War of the Ring games, Lord of the Rings. So we have War of the Ring, which is all of Lord of the Rings. The Battle of Five Armies, which is the recreation of the battle at the end of The Hobbit. War of the Rings, the card game, if you ever want to try that out. That's like the card game version of War of the Ring. Hunt for the Ring, which is a Scotland Yard-esque game from Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings, the original cooperative game for Reiner Knizia, the first mainstream cooperative game, really. Lord of the Rings Confrontation. I don't have the new one yet. But until we do, this is the one from Fantasy Flight. Very good game. And then Lord of the Rings, The Journeys of Middle-earth, which is kind of an adventure-style game. So there's your Lord of the Rings section. Next to that, we filled it in with Memoir 44, 2 copies in case you want to play Overlord. Detective, a game where you're trying to figure out who done it. And then Run, Fight, or Die, a game in which you're going up against zombies and you have 3 choices. Guess what they are? Okay, so what are my favorite games on each shelf? On the top shelf, my favorite game there is Starcadia Quest. I like the Arcadia Quest, Starcadia Quest. I like Starcadia Quest a little better. On the second shelf, it's Kemet. I do like Star Wars Queen's Gambit a lot, but Kemet is a fantastic game. On shelf 3, it's Battlelore 2nd Edition. This is one of my favorites in the Commands and Colors universe. On the next shelf, I'm with the crowds here. Terror Escape is such a fantastic game. And on the bottom, a lot of good Lord of the Rings games here. I think at the moment, I would pick Lord of the Rings Confrontation. Although, I like Memoir 44 and War of the Ring is an absolutely fantastic game. But those are my favorite on each shelf. What are yours? Let me know in the comments. I'm Tom Vasel, and this is another rack of games in the Dice Tower Library. Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Vasel.